Pre-Algebra Lesson 7-4, Solving Inequalities by Adding or Subtracting. So we're going to solve inequalities that you've been working on. I'm going to tell you how to add or subtract inequalities. So if A is greater than B, if you add C to either side of the inequality or subtract it, then it's going to stay the same. If A is less than B, if you add C to both sides, it's still going to be equal. If you subtract C from both sides, it's still going to be equal. So let's do an example. Example 1, x plus 3 is greater than 10. They ask us to solve it and to check our equation, or our solution, I'm sorry. So to solve, we're going to subtract 3. We want to solve for x from both sides. On the left side of the inequality, we have x. 3 minus 3 is 0. Don't forget your inequality sign. And 10 minus 3 is 7. So our answer is x is greater than 7. To check your answer, you're going to plug in for x. You're going to plug any number that is greater than 7 and see if this is true. So let's plug in 8. This is our check. 8 is greater than 7. Is that true? Oops, I'm sorry. 8 plus 3. I'm sorry. 8 plus 3 is greater than 10, not 7. What is 8 plus 3? It's 11. Is 11 greater than 10? Yes. So now any number that's greater than 7 will make this a true statement. This is your answer. X is greater than 7. Next, solving an inequality using addition. We have negative 6 plus or minus n minus 5. I'm sorry, I said plus or minus. Negative 6 is greater than or equal to n minus 5. To solve this, you just need to get n all by itself. So we're going to add 5 to both sides. Up here we subtracted. This time we're adding. Okay? So over on the right side, it just adds up to 0, and we have n, and then we have our inequality. Negative 6 plus 5 is negative 1. If you want to rewrite this where n is over here, all you have to read it. It says n is less than or equal to negative 1. So we're going to just flip the inequality the other way, if it helps you to have it on this side. So this is our answer, but we want to check it and make sure that it's correct. So you can check your answer by replacing n with any number less than or equal to negative 1. So I'm going to do 2 checks for you. If we plug negative 1 in for x, so our original inequality, if we plug negative 1 in for n, negative 6 is greater than or equal to negative 5 minus 5, which is negative 6. That's true, because negative 6 is equal to negative 6. What if we plug in negative 2? Negative 6 is greater than or equal to negative 2 minus 5. Well, on the right side, we have negative 2 minus 5 is negative 7. Negative 6 is greater than or equal to negative 7. That's true. So our answer, n is less than or equal to negative 1, is correct. You can also leave it written this way. Either way is correct. Now how about graphing? So they gave us an equation, a plus 1/2 is less than 2. We need to graph our answer. Whatever our answer is, we need to graph it on a number line. So I'm going to subtract 1/2 from both sides. A is less than 2 minus 1/2. You can rewrite 2 with a denominator of 2. So 2, if we were to multiply it by 2 over 2, we get 4 over 2, which is the same thing as 2. I'm going to rewrite that 4 over 2 minus 1/2. And we can get our answer. Since they're the same denominator, we can just do 4 minus 1. We get 3 over 2. You don't need to change it or simplify it to a proper fraction. If you want to, that's fine. It's 1.5. I'm just going to leave it like this. So this is our answer. We need to graph it on a number line. So let's draw our number line. So you take this number right here, 3/2 or 1.5, and you're gonna graph it. So here it is, 1.5, and look at your inequality sign. Since there's no line under it, we're gonna graph an open circle at 1.5. And it says that our answer is less than, or it's pointing to the left, it's less than 1.5. So that's your answer. You don't have to draw the arrow up here if you don't want, but you can always draw it on here. Sometimes it's hard to see number lines if they're written on, or see your answers if they're written on the number line. That's why I do it this way. Last one, it says Antonio has $18 to ride go-karts and play games at the state fair. If the go-karts cost $5.50, what's the most he can spend on a game? So we need to find the greatest amount of money that Antonio can spend on games. So right here, I'm gonna let the cost of the go-karts, we already know what that is. It says the go-karts cost $5.50. We're gonna write that here. Plus the cost of the games. Let's see, the cost of the games. We don't know. They're asking what's the most he can spend on games. So we'll just write the cost of the games as X. The money he spent on go-karts plus the cost of the games, or X, it has to be less than or equal to the amount of money he has. He has $18. He can't spend more than 18. Okay? So this is our inequality. Now we can solve it. To solve for X, we're going to subtract 550 or 5.5 from both sides. On the left, it's 0. On the right, we have X is less than or equal to 18 minus 5.5, which is 12.5. So, Antonio, if he decides that he wants to go on the go-karts, he has to take that $5.50 away from his $18. So the most he can spend on games is $12.50. Your homework tonight, I'm not sure, I'll figure that out.